Hey guys, I know. In last week's edition of Doing Did You Know, I mentioned that this week the baby is going to get its new luscious paint. But you know what? My buddy Suresh, who's working on the car, said that he needed more time to get the prep work correct. And at Sparta Motors, they do it just right. How do we do it? Like this. Okay, you see this gooey stuff here? This is the putty filler. And you gotta put this on the car right so that you can get a surface like this, and then you have to make sure that there are no undulations, and then you have to sand it down. You have to sand it down really good so that you get a straight surface like this. You see here, this surface here, this is what a beautifully sanded down straight surface needs to look like, because if you have waves on this kind of surface and you have the paint on, it's going to look really, really bad. So let's leave the waves to the beaches now, shall we? And that is why it's really important to get the sanding down and the putty part perfect the first time round, because otherwise you're going to have to strip the entire car down once again. All right, next week hopefully we're going to get some paint on this baby. See you then. Now this is a bog standard Subaru Impreza with a 1.6 litre engine up front. This is as good as a daily drive as you can get. Now, did you know that this car can do this?
Let's go. Coming the second time. Oh, yes! Perfect. Does it again.
Well, one man can do it in any car, including this car over here, and his name is Russell Swift. Let's have a chat with him.
Here we go. Up. Whoa!
He might be twice as old as I am. No disrespect there, but he can do things that I could never dream of doing. So it's very good to meet you.
Absolute pleasure to meet you.
You can do crazy things with your automobiles. Tell me, what actually made you think that, oh, okay, it'd be fun to take a car and put it on two wheels when God gave men the idea that you should have four on them?
Well, I did it for a hobby for many years, from a very young age, and took up motorsport, a form of gymkhana, drifting, that sort of thing. I was the British champion and got asked to show off a few of my skills at events, and I realised that there was a niche in the market for this type of entertainment with cars, and I did a TV commercial 30 years ago that won the best car commercial in the world award, using all those skills, and that got me known all over the world, and since then I've travelled the world performing at events like this, and made a hobby, I made a career out of a hobby.
Well, it's always great to make a career out of a hobby, but you were saying niche, right? And this niche you created, quite rightly said, 30 years ago.
That's
with
right.
that TV commercial.
Yeah.
I think it was when you graduated from rallying into demonstrating.
Yes. Yeah.
But 30 years ago, it was a niche. 30 years on, is it still a niche?
It's an industry now. You know, there's lots of things have spawned from it, and you know, the term precision driving I came up with because I didn't want to be called a stunt driver really, because I didn't think it was that. But now sort of precision driving is an accepted term, and lots of people do use cars as a form of entertainment. But I still like to think that we lead the pack with.
How come there's still not that many people who actually does precision driving like you do?
Well, you've got to remember, when you're doing these sort of things, it's probably just as well that not too many people do it, because it's a massive responsibility.
Of course,
I've got quite a small area here. The people are quite close, and I think it is right that only a select few people are allowed to do it, because anybody who doesn't have the experience that I've got, you know, it could be very dangerous.
Well, of course, you're the world record holder for several precision stunts, precision driving tricks. As I understand it, you only need, what, 30 centimeters between your car and the car next to you?
Well, much like every show we did yesterday, I was within an inch.
Within an inch?
Of the other car.
All right, so let me put this in perspective. I'm driving, right?
Yeah.
Say I'm
Okay,
Russ Swift Jr., right? I'm driving and I see a spot on my right, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I can see it's yay big.
Okay, yeah.
How do you know that your car is yay big and that
Right.
space is yay big and you can just swing it in without a
Well,
problem?
I wouldn't do that. In my show, the first manoeuvre I do is come in behind one car.
Okay.
And then I move the car in behind and see how much space I've got.
Okay.
And then I judge the second time I come in on the space I know and try and even out the gap. And then
Right.
I'll move the car closer and I move it closer. And each time I'm sort of perfecting the place I want to be. And
Right.
as you'll see in my show, the last manoeuvre will be that far away.
Mistakes, does that come into play at all here?
Not really.
No, you don't leave room for
I
mistakes.
can't remember the last time I caused any.
Oh.
I've never caused any significant damage.
Right.
We sometimes have a little kiss, just a little touch, which is fine. But very, very rarely do I do any damage
It's a
whatsoever.
pretty car. You don't
It's a
want to
lovely
muck
car,
about with it. Yeah.
And these cars are fabulous to drive. I'm very privileged to be given wonderful cars like this to play with because they really are fantastic cars to drive.
Now, of course, we don't want to advocate to our audiences to actually find a space and slip
of course
into it.
not, no.
But how do you have a little bit of extra fun? If let's say if you have the space, right? If you have a big empty car park and you want to do something to your car that is, not something you do on your daily drive, and it's safe and simple, what would you say would give you the kicks?
If anybody does want to do this sort of thing, there are places you can go. You've got motor racing circuits here where
Yeah.
people can go, and there are space and cordoned off areas where you can do it safely and not bother anybody else. I wouldn't advocate doing anything like I do anywhere near the public or be a nuisance to anybody.
Sure.
But if I'm given a big space, you can get lots of speed up and do lots of big spins and slides and make it more exciting. But I think my trademark is the close contact precision and that's the beauty of being able to perform in an area like this. I don't need a very small space, and I think the thing that impresses people is the fact that I could come and put on
In this
an
area.
exciting display in such a small space.
Come on, let's run through your records right now. What records do you hold?
Well, I probably don't hold any at this point in time because as soon as I set a record, somebody
else would
wants
do
to
it, yeah.
just to prove themselves.
Especially with YouTube
That's
around,
That's
right?
yeah.
Everybody
So-
wants to
So
prove
I probably don't have any whatsoever, but I come up with records. The
Right.
records I set, nobody's done before, and Guinness come to me for ideas really. And that parallel parking manoeuvre, Swift parking, we call it. I came up with that move. Nobody had ever handbrake turned between two cars parked at a curb like I did. And I came up with that for a TV commercial 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And that really has become my trademark move. And I set the world record for that about 20 years ago to start with, and then a few people had a nibble at it, so I went and got it back, and then I broke it again, and then some of the other people, and I think somebody else I'm sure somebody else holds it at the moment.
Yeah.
But nobody will be able to do it every time like I do it on a show like this.
Well, we're going to definitely enjoy the show. So thank you so
That's
much for your time.
that's
It's
a great
pleasure
pleasure.
talking
I hope
to you.
you enjoyed it.
It's a lesson. Oh, and before you go, now I know that if all of us are fans of auto shows, this guy here was once rumored to be the Stig. So I'm going to find out a little bit more a bit later on. Right? Stay with us.